Hello everybody, my name is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with my March wrap-up. Let's jump right into it. I have a stack of books before me. I have my stat sheet. I've been reading ARCs, guys. Who am I? I've been reading digital ARCs. I've been trying to improve my NetGalley review numbers. I'm doing well. I got my numbers back up to, I think, above 80 at this point, which is impressive. Maybe it went back down a little bit because I got one, but then I read one immediately. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm reading ARCs. So let's jump into all the things that I've been reading. So technically, The Sky Above Us was a YA thriller ARC that was about a plane crash. And this girl's twin brother and her friends, like, it's about 3 girls and 3 boys. 3 boys go up on a plane, the 3 boys fall into the ocean, they die. But the one whose twin died believes that they were trying to get through like a portal to be reincarnated. It discusses a lot of things. I didn't think it discussed any of them particularly well. I did not enjoy it. But it's a thing that I read. So that was like the first thing that I read this month. And I think I gave that 2 stars. Nope, I gave it 1 star. Just 1. I didn't connect with it. I didn't understand it. It was not my thing. It didn't feel like a thriller. It was strange. It was strange is what it was. The only other thing that I read that I don't have a physical copy of because it was an e-arc is Survive the Night by Riley Sager, which I was very excited to get approved for. This one is about a girl who accepts a ride from somebody she does not know to get back home from college after something like traumatic has happened at college. She wants to leave. She wants to go back home. She needs to accept a ride from somebody because she doesn't drive. She may have just gotten into the car with the campus killer. And then we followed the journey from there. This one excited me for a couple of reasons. 1, I usually like Riley Sager's writing. And 2, it was harkening back to his first 2 books where it was more straightforward thriller and not trying to throw in paranormal twists. And I prefer his more straightforward thrillers to the paranormally is it, isn't it? Because I just don't think that's where he shines, personally. Unfortunately, I don't think this is where he shines either. I did not end up liking this book. I am somebody who has started to read a lot more thrillers as of recently. Hold on, is this crooked? Maybe, I don't effing know. Recently, I have started to read more thrillers. So the more that I read in thrillers, I'm conflicted. I either like to be able to kind of like suss out what's happening along with the main character, which sometimes if done right feels really cool and like sleuthy. And then there's other times where I don't think it's the author's intention that you understand all the twists from the beginning, but this was a book where I did. And I don't think I've read that broadly through the thriller genre that I'm able to like pinpoint. Like, I still want to enjoy these books. I don't want to be able to figure out every single tiny little thing. And I think that as the reveals come, you can be like, I saw that coming, or I saw that coming, or oh, here's my theory. But like, my theory from page like 1 was the theory that panned out at the end. And the whole time I'm just going like, this is ridiculous because I know it's not this person, it's this person. Or I know that this twist is still coming, so I was just kind of like waiting for it instead of being anxious about it. And I didn't connect with it. So, is the writing bad? No. I didn't love a couple things about it. 1, that I called everything from the very beginning. 2, that there's like a magical cure in this. Our main character suffers or has this condition where she sees movies in her head, and she can usually distinguish between what is and isn't just imagined in her head. She usually has like signs for when she goes into and comes out of these stages where she's like seeing a movie on top of her actual life. And that's played with throughout the book, which is fine. But then at the end, she was like, I think that's over. And I'm like, oh, what? I don't understand. I don't get it. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. Is it horrible? No. Is it what I wanted it to be? Also no. So that's that. Then I did participate in the Crab Along the Cosmere Crabalong, which we were supposed to read The Final Empire, which is the first of the Brandon Sanderson Mistborn trilogy. I've already read books 1 and 2. I read ahead for this one quite a while ago, so I did not read that this month, but that was the readathon book for this month, so technically I did complete that. Also, there was the backlist readathon, which was anything 2018 or before, and I had a bunch of books for that, so we will get into that. And then I have my reading blog, which I'm just going to touch on. So I did read Dark King by C.N. Crawford, by far the standout of my Fae reading blog. King of Ruin by May Sage, and Fae Captive by Lily Archer. There's a tab in here because I am going to be sending those off to a lovely subscriber who wanted these books. Then I was able to find a couple of these on Amazon in print, so like if you really, really wanted them, you could probably find them, but they probably wouldn't have the signed book plate or like the exclusive Bite Me box stuff on them. I need to take those to the post office tomorrow, so I had to film this now. Then we have the rest of the books that I read. So overall this month I read 10 books, which is good for me when I'm also in the middle of trying to get a book out for publication, and 3,250 pages, 2 arcs. Fae books I did not count as backlist. I think they're 2019. And then everything else I read is backlist, except for maybe this. Let me check the date on this one. So this is 2018. So technically backlist. So all of these are backlist, which is 2018 or prior, according to the readathon rules. However, did I read all these in the readathon week? No. Did I read some of them during the readathon week? Yes. Did I also just use it as a month-long challenge to read things that were on my shelves that have been on there for a very long time? Also, yes. So I start off with The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This is an Owl Crate edition. It has the massive signed book print, book plate, and I did put my reading thoughts into this with some washi tape. I really enjoyed this book. It had been sitting on my shelves for a very long time, and I ended up really, really, really liking it. This came out in 2017 and has been sitting on my shelves since then. I tried a 1 chapter with it and really liked it and then never picked it up again. I'm really glad I did. I super enjoyed it. I'm excited to get to Bone Houses, which is also on my shelves. Also, for the readathon, officially, I read Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens and gave it 3 stars. Oh, The Hearts We Sold, I gave 4 stars. This is a 3-star read. I wanted to love this as much as everybody else seems to love this book, but I didn't. I do, and I don't know why. There is a religious overtone to the entirety of the book. I don't love that. I did not love the father-daughter relationship in this, and I'm a sucker for father-daughter relationships, and the one in this just leaned too heavily towards unacceptance. You had a daughter who was dealing with identity, sexual, gender, all of that, and a father who in the house seemed very supportive, but outwardly with the church was not supportive and kept asking her to tone it down and to act more normal, and I didn't love that. The friend group in this was cool, but also I never really felt it. The communication in it was fantastic. I liked the way the kids talked to one another, but in general, it just was not what I wanted it to be. Was it queer? Yes. Was it like a great little found family? Sure. I tabbed like really cool moments where they discussed gender and sexuality and fluidity, and I appreciated that in this book, but I'm going to unhaul this. I think maybe somebody else could use this more than me, and it just, maybe I waited too long, but I didn't love this the way that I wanted to love this, and I did not connect with the friend group and the found family aspect of it as much as I wanted to. And I think maybe part of that was like love triangle-y stuff, love quadruple-y, love a lot. It was a little too much. And that one was a 2017 release as well. I will be keeping The Hearts We Sold, but I will be unhauling that. I think I also read this during the readathon. I'm not 100% sure. This is Lost Boy by Christina Henry, which I ended up loving. Loving. There will be a giveaway for this on my newsletter. Head to my website. You can sign up for my newsletter and you could potentially win a copy of this. I have it sitting right next to me. Amazon sent me 2. I don't know why, but I'm not going to fight it. This one came out in 2018, I think. Nope, 2017 as well. So this one's 2017. This is a dark Peter Pan retelling, and I didn't know I needed it as much as I did, but I did. And I loved it. It is so dark and so gory and so grim. And I love that Peter Pan is never painted in a positive light in any retelling. He's always the bad guy. And this one took a little bit of a different spin on why he's the bad guy and how exactly he's the bad guy. and I loved it. It was traumatic and extra in the best way possible, and I am interested in reading more from her now, although I'm struggling to figure out which one I would want to read because I don't like the original Alice in Wonderland, so I don't know if I would like the retelling, but I feel like I might. So let me know if you've read other books by her, which ones are your favorite. Because I'm intrigued, but I don't know if I want to dive down the Alice rabbit hole, but I might be able to be persuaded. And like all my books this year, I am putting my notes about like what I liked, character, plot, ratings, the dates I read it, all that goes into the front of the book. I will be keeping that one. Then I read I Am Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall, which is the first novel that they wrote, I believe. Since then they wrote The Rules for Vanishing and Our Last Echoes, both of which I loved. This one does not have paranormal leadings. This is a survival story. It reminds me a lot of Be Not Far From Me by Mindy McGinnis. It is harrowing and very effed up. We have a character that already has pre-existing disabilities and injuries from a car accident that killed her mother before she goes to find her father in like the backwoods, middle of nowhere Canada. Things ensue from there. But I did like it. Did I like it as much as her other books? No. However, it wasn't bad. I gave this one 4 stars. Lost Boy got 4 stars as well. I mean, it's suspenseful, it's dark, it's gritty. It's also kind of like got that gory feel of her other books where she like really goes there. It's not quite like body horror. A little bit, maybe. I don't know. I really liked it. This is a 2018 release, so I'm counting this along with the backlist. And then lastly, I finished this one last night in like a day, I guess, like 24 hours, but split up between 2 days. White Stag, and this one is by Cara Barbary. I don't know how you pronounce that one. This one was pitched to me. I believed it was a fae novel, but it's like fae goblins as opposed to like fae fairies. And I'm here for that change. It was interesting. This also discusses a lot about body dysmorphia and rape and sexual assault survivors and eating disorders. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I think I originally gave it 4 stars, and I think I probably give it 3.5. I think I'll probably change my StoryGraph rating now that I've sat with it for a little bit. But this was the last one. I finished this last night at like 11 o'clock, and I really wanted to get it in this month, and I managed to. It was interesting. It wasn't poorly written. There was a good discussion in here about sexual assault and rape survivors and how they rebuild trust. There was a nice little like romance in here. There was a lot of humor and sarcasm to kind of lighten the mood in different places, but it was also very dark and very gritty, which I like a lot. So like 3.5 stars is not bad. I really did enjoy this. I don't know if it's one that I loved enough that I'm going to keep it, so this might be getting unhauled as well. And I just saw somebody that started, oh shoot, who was it? Somebody that I subscribed to. And I commented, they were moving, they were selling books, I'm forgetting her name, she's a beautiful woman, but she was using Pango books to sell her books, and it seemed to be pretty easy. So I might look into Pango to sell some of the books that I don't need anymore, if anybody's interested in them, at like a lower than Amazon or lower than Barnes & Noble price, if you wanted to just buy them directly from me. So some of these books that I'm unhauling, I think I might, if I can find a site that like works well enough for me, I might sell over there for unhauls, or just like in general after I read a book. If I realize I don't need it in my life, I'm going to unhaul. Everything I read this month was either backlist or an ARC, or had been sitting on my shelves from a book box. So that's kind of cool. I like that. I like that for me, to be able to just like read what I got. That's nice. Although I will say, these two are backlist. Christina Henry and Kate Alice Marshall are technically backlist because they're 2018, but I did buy them this year. I did really like that I got to a backlist Kate Alice Marshall. I love that I got to The Hearts We Sold, and I really enjoyed it, and it makes me really excited for the Bone Houses. And I'm moving some books off of my shelves, which is kind of my goal. I also wanted to point out that with the exception of 2 books this month, 8 of them were fantasy. That's not true. That's a bold-faced lie. So out of 10 books, 6 were fantasy and 4 were contemporary. The 2 ARCs were contemporary, and then I'm Still Alive and Dress Codes for Small Towns were contemporary. And then the rest were fantasy. I'm reading a lot more fantasy, and I'm super excited about that. My shelf that's like back here with like my TBR fantasy is just slowly dwindling because I'm starting to read more and more of them. Right now, I'm about to start A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which is an arc. I never read it. I'm going to now. So, you know, fantasy, guys, who knew? That trend video that I did a little while back, it may be fantasy. I do have a video coming up soon, too, suggesting my favorite high fantasy. High fantasy specifically. And then we'll get into other ones. If you have any, like, specific recommendation videos you would like to see, let me know. Yeah, but that's going to be it for this video. That's it for March's wrap-up, though. So if you liked it, do give me a big thumbs up. Like I said before, you can give me a thumbs down. It really doesn't matter to YouTube, but I would appreciate the thumbs up. Subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, friends.